Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Bursa case studies. So, as usual, we'll start off with the index reviews first, then we will move on over to the case studies. So, we'll start off with the US index. Nasdaq doesn't look good. It actually came back down to the previous head and shoulders area. Whereby if this actually breaks down from this level, this new level over here, 14432, then most likely you will see quite a bearish momentum coming in. Okay, so head and shoulders pattern actually kind of got invalidated over here when the rally started with quite a good volume, but it seems like it's not a sustained rally lah. Okay, so it seems to be coming down now. We'll have to see whether this level actually breaks down or not, and if it does, most likely it will form a head and shoulders and break down lah. Okay, so at the moment Nasdaq doesn't look good, and I think the other indexes will follow as well as not good. Okay, so coming to the Dow Jones, similar thing. I think Dow Jones is worse. It didn't even reach the previous trend line level. Okay, and it's already going down. And US 500 is the same lah. Okay, if you notice, US 500 penetrated to the 200 days moving averages twice and didn't close below, but on Friday actually closed below, which is actually very bearish. Okay, so things don't look so good on the US indexes. The Russell 2000 actually is the same. It didn't even really reach. It just continued going lower and lower lah. Okay, so based on US indexes, it's not looking good at the moment. Okay, so next we go over to the KLCI index. So for KLCI index, I don't see it as that bad. Okay, it looks kind of sideways now after quite a strong rally over here to this zone. Okay, so we'll wait and see whether it's able to break out. There's actually, if you really observe, there is like a kind of a very small trend line over here lah. Okay, if you notice, it's not a very steep one. Okay, not a very steep angle. It's kind of like a small downtrend, mini downtrend over here in a major downtrend lah. Okay, so nothing much. For the small cap index, I don't think it's looking good anymore. If you notice that here it's one high, then this is a higher high, and then this is a lower high. So this is actually a similar kind of like a head and shoulders already. Okay, so there are chances that it's going to fall even lower lah. Okay, but the thing about the index for US index and also the small cap index is that it has been going down for a few days, so most likely the index is oversold. It may have a short rebound rally before confirming it going downtrend. Okay, so things are not looking good. For the Hang Seng index, I think it's also not looking good. Okay, it actually closed almost low and created a new low lah. So Hang Seng index, usually when it creates a new low, it kind of rebounds. Okay, if you look at here, every time it comes, like, you know, this is the previous low, form new low, rebound, then here form new low, rebound, form new low, rebound. Okay, so it's kind of still running in a downtrend within a channel lah. Okay, similar, also not looking good, actually looking quite bad. Okay, China index, similar story, is also going down. Okay, also looking very bad over here. Actually it's even worse than Hang Seng Life, I believe. Okay, I think the candle is much worse than Hang Seng. We move over to the Nikkei index, which is the Japan index, also not doing good. You can see 3 red candles over here, so you know that the sentiment is quite bearish lah. Okay, oil has been rallying up, I think due to the war. Okay, when you have wars, then oil supply actually reduces, then demand goes up lah. Okay, so oil is not bad. I think this is just a pullback before it rallies even higher lah. Okay, the short index actually kind of broke out on a short index for the Nasdaq ETF. Okay, the technology counter ETF is actually kind of breaking out with quite high volume. Okay, so can monitor this. So actually, if you notice, this is already around the resistance area lah. Okay, if you look at this zone, this zone is kind of like a resistance area for SQQQ. So we'll need to see whether it's able to break out or not. So if it's not able to break out, most likely it will form another cup before finally breaking out lah. Okay, which is what I meant by there's a possibility that, you know, there will be an oversold rally, then after that you come back down and follow back what is the major trend lah. Okay, this is the short index for the semiconductors, which also you see, okay, there is some form of resistance over here lah. There were a lot of wicks over here. Okay, so this is something to look out for. Then now we have the SOXL. Okay, you can see that it's already re-challenging back a trend line that it has formed over like since October 2022, over 1 year. Okay, you can see that this trend line formed over here and actually already broke the trend already lah. Okay, it's not looking good anymore. It's not looking bullish anymore lah, in my opinion. Okay, for the US sector, VIX volatility index has broken out again. Previously didn't manage to break out and continue. This time managed to break out and follow through. So this is not a good thing. Volatility index high, usually index will come down lah. Okay. The US dollar index is kind of consolidating. It looks like it wants to go higher, which is also against the stock market. Okay, and also the US 10-year yield lah. Okay, this one actually came down together with the other indexes as well. So just a quick conclusion, I don't think the indexes are doing well. Not only US, China, Japan, Hong Kong, they're all not doing well. Even Malaysia's small cap index is not doing well. Okay, so you need to practice caution in the market. Okay, when everything is not doing well, you need to practice caution. Okay, we move over to the case studies for the week. Actually, based on the filtering, I don't think there are much stocks which are interesting anymore lah. Okay, judging by how the market is moving, you should notice that most stocks are no longer behaving in a very bullish manner lah. Okay, so we start with TAS first. Okay, TAS. TAS is pretty bullish. You can see there's high volume over here, high volume previously over here, and then on Thursday and Friday both also high volume lah. Okay, so previous resistance is at about 0.36. You see it broke out, didn't really maintain, and it came back down, form another new support at about this level. Okay, so I'll just draw a line over here. Okay, and then it broke out lah. Okay, Thursday with high volume. The only thing that you need to take note is this stock is quite penny lah. Okay, it's about 30 over cents only. Your next resistance is actually quite near lah. Okay, it's actually 0.415. Okay, it's like attempting to challenge already also, and then didn't manage to break out from 415 lah. So most likely you will meet some resistance, because if actually you zoom out like this, or if you use the weekly time frame, you will see it's kind of like a rounding bottom over here lah. Okay, it has challenged this level multiple times and didn't succeed in breaking out. Okay, so that's for TAS. Next is Dchcare. Okay, Dchcare, if we look at the pattern, we exclude the first day because IPO day high volume. Okay, you can see that the volume has actually come back to the stock. Okay, it actually came back already. Okay, you can see this volume high volume breakout. Okay, then volume has been consolidating for quite some time. Then here volume started coming in. Okay, and then it's formed a nice base over here before the high volume came in on Friday. So this will be your first support, and then after that it built a newer support over here. Let me just use this one. So this is like a newer support for it. Okay, and this was the resistance lah. Okay, of 0.5. Okay, so it's kind of like moving down, found base, then form first high, then this is a lower high with a very nice base, and then volume broke out, came in on Friday and break out lah. Okay, so actually this is a very nice case study for you to see whether next week it continues going higher or not lah. Okay, the volume shows like kind of there are huge volume coming in lah. Okay, you can see this volume is 34 million, while previous day 9 million, and then before that is only 3.7 million. Okay, next Mikromb. I think I featured this case study also previously. It looks quite good. Kind of broke out from this level, this resistance level, and then came back down. It's kind of like touching and checking lah, kind of testing and see whether the previous resistance become a new support for it or not. And seems like yes lah, seems like it did form a new support level. Okay, so this resistance you can actually turn into a new support level, and your new resistance level will be definitely here lah, 0.28 to 0.285. I think this one was an attempt to break out but then failed. So the resistance should be at 0.28 lah. Let me just put a note. Okay, and this will be a new support lah. Okay, Next, Harta. Let me just move Kossan up together. Okay. I think among all the four glove charts, they don't really seem to be moving in much tandem now. I think Harta and Kossan are having more stable charts. Okay, and I'll explain why shortly. So if you look at this glove chart, you can see you have some form of higher lows forming. Okay, so 1, 2, see this higher also, 3, 4, higher also, 5, and if just it is, then this is 6 lah. Okay, so you have some form of higher low forming, albeit there is not much of a higher high. Okay, but there are multiple higher low forming even from here itself lah. Okay, this trend line looks quite intact, and you can see that there is the resistance is quite clear lah at this level. Okay, so there are no closes above this, but you can see that this forming higher lows. This is like a clear resistance lah. So if you actually draw a chart pattern, you will have something like this lah. Okay, so this is actually for me, it looks like a mini inverse head and shoulders, which has a possibility of breaking out lah. Okay, this one is quite nicely formed already lah. Okay, you can see the volume on breaking out days is high volume, then come back down is on pretty low volume lah. Okay, good case study to have. Next is Kossan. Actually, it's quite similar, just that Kossan, if you realize, the volatility is not as high as Harta. Okay, so Kossan actually, if you look at the resistance, is somewhere about here. Okay, this close above, then broke down again. So that's why I say Kossan's volatility is not that high. It's a bit it doesn't move so nicely like Harta lah. Okay, sorry, I think not volatility high, it's like it's a bit high lah actually. Okay, the things move, but the shares flow is quite similar lah. Okay, so anyway, if let's say we draw out, you will get something like this lah. Okay, of course this is not a head and shoulders inverse. Okay, this is just multiple cups forming, but you can take note that the resistance level has been quite similar over the past multiple weeks or even months lah. Okay, and throughout here you can notice that this was your first low. Okay, then it went up to here, and then went up to here, and then went up to here. Okay, so similar to Harta, it's kind of and then went up to here lah. So similar to Harta, it's kind of forming higher lows along the way, which is of course a good sign lah. Okay, so personally, I think gloves may have a value play now to kind of normalize whatever they have lost lah. It may lah. Okay, it just may. Okay, next is RGB. RGB, after the heavy sell down over here, I think would have scared most of the retailers away, and then currently you can see from the compared to this volume over here, the price is kind of stabilizing already lah. Okay, so you can see it's like this. Maybe you'll go up, or maybe you'll just go down. Okay, it's very hard to say, but volume kind of has dried up, and just need to wait and see. I think RGB will mainly move once MACC clears them from their accusations. Otherwise, I don't think it's very stable lah. Like, you know that even if let's say it decides to go up, okay, there are always, there's always like a fear, like there is always uncertainty, and investors actually don't like to have any uncertainties lah. So well, as long as there's some form of uncertainties, that it may cause a negative impact to the stock lah. Okay, and SMRT. Okay, SMRT is one of the really bullish stocks during this bad market. Okay, market sentiment hasn't been that good. Okay, but SMRT has been kind of going against the tide lah, swimming against the tide. So this was the very clear resistance over here at 0.91, which SMRT decided to go for a heavy wash down. Okay, actually if you monitor here, okay, it's kind of like fully downtrend over here, and then it kind of sideways a bit before going up, and then sideways again, and then push up lah. Okay, so for SMRT, I think the resistance, the previous level resistance of 0.91 is actually trying to use it to form a support. Okay, I see it that way lah. I'm not so sure because kind of never closed below it before. Okay, but like I say, I don't really like V-shaped recoveries because there isn't really a a support base formed. Okay, so looking at this is like 1V. Okay, which it's quite tough to find a base support lah. Okay, like it's very far. So it may be consolidating to actually form a new base over here. Okay, but just bear in mind that there are ample of sellers over here lah. Okay, you can see that from the long wicks. Okay, there are ample of sellers, which is creating a resistance over at that area. Okay, so just need to take note. It will be fun to watch where this stock goes lah. Okay, because I think this stock has recently, or maybe can say finally, been recognized as not really a going stock. Okay, it seems that there is some fundamentals behind it, and SMRT is actually about almost going to, yeah, it actually hit and came back down an all-time high. Okay, all-time high in such a bearish market, considered champion lah. Okay, to be able to rally during such a bad market. Okay, so it will be interesting to see lah where the stock decides to hit to. Okay, next you have MI. Okay, if you look at MI, personally I think tech stocks are not really in demand lah. Okay, you can see there are multiple tech stocks which are not doing well. Okay, for example like MI, like TTVHB, ECA, I think REDTONE also not doing well. Penta also came back down. I think MPI is also not doing well. I think there are really multiple tech stocks that are not doing well lah. Okay, so it's not really in demand. But MI had a very huge volume coming in on Friday. Okay, and it actually broke out from the small consolidation over here. Okay, which is a good sign lah. Okay, so if the stock decides to continue, then it will be good lah. Okay, so what you really need to look for from breakout stocks is you need to look for follow through. Okay, follow through is very important. When you have follow through, it kind of confirms that there is definitely some form of interest in the stock. Okay, so if let's say it breaks out one day, then the next day it comes back down, then maybe there isn't that much of demand in the stock lah. Okay, so follow through is very important. But Friday was only the first breakout day lah. Okay, I think you still need some time before you can confirm the follow through lah. Okay, so for MI, the support and resistance still remains the same lah. Okay, no changes. Next is this KMLOONG. Not bad. Okay, I think I've never really put this stock as a case study because like not interesting. But again, during such a bad market, it's able to break out. Okay, and it's at the previous resistance level. Okay, the base here is actually quite solid lah. You see, every time it hits there and then it doesn't break down, it's actually pretty solid. And then it broke out with quite high volume on Friday lah. Okay, Thursday was like a pullback day, then not much of volume over here. So we'll wait to see lah what happens next week. The resistance is definitely 1.95. Okay, and then the next resistance is really far lah. Okay, I think it's about somewhere here, 2.15, quite far lah, the next resistance. Okay, interesting chart to have during such a bearish market. Okay, next is ARMADA. I think this is the only oil and gas counter inside my case study list. I am not so sure where the direction of oil is going to, but looking at the chart, it looks like it's very likely it will go higher lah. Okay, and if it goes higher, then yes, most of the oil and gas companies will join in together and it will continue going higher. Okay, if it doesn't go higher, then of course, if it drops, then of course the oil and gas counters will drop together lah. It has always been like that. So where the counter goes will always depend on where the oil prices go lah. Okay, it kind of moves in tandem. If let's say it moves well, then oil counters will go up together lah. If it doesn't, then of course it won't. Okay, among all the oil counters, I prefer ARMADA because of the very tight price action and low volume chart. I know that ARMADA has a pretty high shares float. which makes it a bit hard to move compared to Uzma, Karimin, Dayang. I think those are much more volatile, but Armada has very high shares float, so it's a bit kind of like, you know, people say it's a bit heavier lah. Okay, but the chart pattern is much better. It's still in an uptrend. Hasn't really broken the uptrend line up for me. Okay, so I think for an oil counter to have such a kind of trend during such a bad market, I think it's quite interesting, which is why I included it inside my one case study. Okay, support and resistance still stays the same. I don't think there's any change in the support and resistance lah for now. Okay. Okay, next is FPI. I didn't really fancy this stock because of the number of gap downs that happened along the way. Okay, so if you notice, since the huge rally over here has been downtrend very long, then there's a gap down here. Didn't feel this gap, then gap down again. Didn't really feel the gap, then gap down again. Then come up, gap down again, gap down again. Okay, there has been super a lot of gap downs lah, which is what I don't really fancy in a chart. So kind of didn't get my interest lah. Okay, but however, it looks like it's turning uptrend now lah. Okay, you by just looking at, you know, this is like one base, quiet base, then breakout, and then follow, continue, build another base, and then breakout again, then breakout again. So currently it's at a very long term kind of downtrend lah. Okay, challenging that line, and if it's able to break the line, then of course you'll be good lah. Okay, but I think it will need some time to challenge back the line. Like you kind of like, you know, need to build some momentum before you can go and challenge the line. Okay, that's what I feel lah. The stock needs. Okay, so if you don't build momentum, I think it's quite difficult to actually break through lah. Okay, so yeah, that's for FPI. I think the resistance will definitely be the gap, because this was quite a huge gap down, and the support at the moment I don't think it has formed a new support yet lah, because the rally was quite huge. It has to pull back, consolidate, and form a support first, then only it will be considered as a support lah, like kind of form a base. But you can see there is a small gap over here, and there's also a small gap over here. Okay, so it may come back down, close the gap before continuing the rally lah. Okay, then next is SUNCON. I think there are quite a lot of reviews for construction counters. Honestly, I can't really say whether the cycle has ended or not. Okay, but based on some of the charts, the cycle don't seem to be there lah. Okay, honestly speaking, based on the charts, the cycle doesn't seem to be there lah. Like the trend is not really focused there already lah. Okay, so I think construction counters need to really relook back and see what is their near-term benefit, whether the earnings will be good or stuff like that or not. Okay, so for SUNCON, the reason is inside the watch list is basically because it's actually hitting on the 50 days moving average 2 times in a short period of time lah. Okay, and 50 days moving average usually tends to become quite a strong support. Usually, okay, it's not like a definite kind of thing, but usually it tends to be quite a support lah. Okay, it has hit twice. Okay, as I've mentioned before, if kind of like, you know, a stock kind of like keep hitting at the same support, or keep hitting at the same resistance, eventually there is a tendency that it will break. Okay, so the same with this. If it continues hitting, there is a tendency that it will break. Okay, so this is just a case study lah. Okay, we see whether this one breaks or not, or if let's say maybe it's a very strong support. Okay, maybe it's a very strong 50 days moving average, then of course it will be able to hold. Okay, now REDTONE is after breakout, it kind of decided to consolidate. The volume has been a bit erratic lah. Okay, slightly erratic. If you look at here, it actually broke out from here, then it came back down on kind of low volume, and then these 2 days was high volume, and it's like attempting to break out again, but haven't lah. Okay, so the volume for REDTONE is a bit erratic in that sense, and then came back down with kind of low volume lah. Okay, so that one is a bit good, but we'll need to practice caution a bit lah. Okay, because market bear or whatever it is also, it may not turn out good. Okay, so support and resistance I think has not changed. I think this resistance is really turning into a support, which is of course a good thing lah. Okay, it's a good thing to have a new higher support, and then you have to see what happens in the market. Okay, if market is bad, of course you will join in and go down. Okay, and the last stock that I have inside my case study list is actually KSENG. Now, KSENG is actually not a hot stock. I don't think anyone has really been looking at KSENG. KSENG is related to some agricultural commodities according to trading view lah. Okay, but I just want to highlight how interesting this stock actually is lah. I think I actually highlighted before. I'm not so sure how many of you actually watch my video before. You know what, I'm just going to cancel everything. Okay, KSENG IPO'd at 85 cents. Yeah, I don't know along the way there was some stock splitting or not, or stuff like that, but it kind of IPO at 85 cents, and it's currently at about 4 ringgit now. It came to a high of 8 ringgit. Now you are basically having a 50% discount from the high, okay, and at the lowest it was about almost 60%. Okay, theory wise, any stocks that break 60% is quite tough to come back because of the amount of resistance that the stock will face when it's climbing back again. Okay, but for KSENG, we go a bit on theory over here. KSENG kind of had a small rally over here, okay, slowly going higher, and it was kind of touching on 50 weeks moving average. Okay, so then it broke out, okay, and then it consolidated back, and then it broke out again, and then it consolidated back, and then break out, and then it took a very long consolidation. So if we look at a stage analysis, okay, this is probably the stage 1. Okay, this is the stage 2, the markup, and then this is the stage 3. Sorry, this is a short stage 3, and this is basically the stage 4 lah. For me lah, for me, like I say, this is my case study lah. Okay, and then subsequently it came to about here. You can see here it's not bad already. Okay, it's kind of like re-challenging the moving averages. Then it came down, and for me, I see this area as a stage 1 now. Okay, and then now it has decided to break out. So for me, I think KSENG is quite interesting lah. Okay, what the stock can do while being in a bad market. Okay, you see even on a weekly chart, the correction is about 10%. Okay, corrections should not be more than, I think, 12 to 15% lah. Okay, so technically I feel KSENG is good, like in the sense that it has a very good chart despite the very horrible market. You know, it's still standing. Okay, there's not many stocks that you can see currently is doing this. Okay, mostly it's not. Okay, so for me, KSENG is interesting lah. Okay, but you need to know that there's only 154 million shares float here. Okay, which means it's going to be very volatile lah. Easy move up, easy go down. Okay, so that will be all for my case study this week. Generally, if you follow my case studies every week, you will realize that there is getting lesser and lesser stocks every week. Okay, and when there are lesser and lesser stocks building bases and attempting to break out, that means the market is not doing well lah. Okay, easy, direct meaning. Okay, so when market is not doing well, just like what I mentioned in the indexes for Nasdaq, Dow Jones and stuff like that, when market is not doing well, you need to be a bit defensive lah. Okay, of course Warren Buffett says, Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. You need to remember one thing, timing is very important. Okay, when others are fearful, there may be a reason behind it. Of course, it's good when others are fearful and you become greedy, because kind of like you will get things dirt cheap lah. Like if you tell me that I can buy Maybank at 5 ringgit, then of course you know, it's dirt cheap lah. Your dividend yield is so high, and it's a giant banking company by Malaysia, stuff like that. But what happens if I suddenly come and tell you that, oh, Maybank is actually you can actually buy it at 3 ringgit, you know, it can go lower. So when it becomes 5 ringgit, then everyone come and say like, oh, it's, you know, it's a fearful time, be greedy, then you go and buy. And then when it becomes 3 ringgit, the same thing will come out. Oh, everyone is fearful now, time to go and buy, time to be greedy. Okay, so when general market is bad and market is kind of topping, okay, market topping means it's high up lah. Okay, this looks something like a market topping lah. Okay, this is the market high 16. Okay, high previous 15979, currently is 14. So to me it looks like a topping lah. Okay, like market is topping. So you just need to practice caution lah. Okay, there is no one that actually has a crystal ball and can tell you which direction the market is going to go. Okay, yeah, this thing don't exist lah. Okay, you just need to look at what happens to the market and you move from there lah. Okay, so that'll be all. Or before that, you need to remember that whatever happens in US will affect the entire world. Okay, that is why from all my case study reviews, I always start with the US side first. Okay, whatever that affects US will affect the rest of the world as well. Okay, so you need to always check what is happening on the US side as well lah. Okay, so that will be all. As usual, before I end, just a disclaimer, nothing in this video is a buy or sell call. This video is entirely for educational purpose only. So if you require any buy or sell call, please look for your licensed remiser or look for your licensed financial advisor, because none of this should be considered as a buy or sell call. This entire video is my own personal opinion and a case study that I do for myself on a weekly basis, and should not be considered as a buy call. Okay, it is posted into social media or YouTube for educational purpose only. Okay, so that'll be all for me this week. I hope you stay safe. Okay, that'll be all. Thank you. Bye bye.
If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.